broadcast today. My name is Cindy Speaker, and I have with me today attorney Laura Holland of Gardberg and Kemmerly. She's a Social Security disability attorney. Laura, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thanks for being here. Are you nervous? This is your first time doing a live broadcast.
A little bit, yes.
All right, you already look like a pro. In our setup, you were just like, I thought it's going to be a piece of paper. You know exactly what you're doing. We're going to talk today about SSI, Social Security, SSI, SSI and SSDI, and I think there is a lot of confusion over what the difference is. So why don't you start off by telling us what is the difference between the two and what circumstances would you deal with either one of them?
Okay. First, I'll start just by talking about the definitions of the acronym, the SSI and the SSDI. SSI is Supplemental Security Income. SSDI is Social Security Disability Insurance. So SSI is just basically what it says, a supplement to income. It is not based on anything you've ever paid in. It is not based on your work history. It is only based on your income and your assets at the current time that you file or at the time that you are approved. SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, is based on what you have paid in while you've been working. When you work, you see Social Security being taken out of your account. That is for retirement, but that is also a safety net for if you become disabled and are no longer able to work. While you're working, you're building up credits for SSDI. And usually those will expire after 5 or so years after you finish working. And most people, when they become disabled, when you become disabled, you'll file for it immediately once you know you can't work. So there is that 5-year period. Unfortunately, if you don't work for 10 years and then become disabled, most of the time your credits will have expired. And at that point, you would be eligible for SSI, the Supplemental Security Income. You would no longer have your eligibility for SSDI.
Interesting.
Yes. So it's
okay.
A lot of people don't know the nuances of those, but once you kind of get the basics, it's very kind of understandable, and it's just needs to be broken down sometimes. And Social Security doesn't do, they do a good job of letting people know when they come in what they can apply for, but you really don't know until you get there what you're eligible for or what you're even asking them for.
That's interesting. I had never heard that the credits expire after about 5 years.
Yes.
And a lot of people have disabilities that kind of go over a long period of time. So in some ways, I guess it's also kind of a lesson to, hey, apply once you're disabled. Don't wait too long. Right. Because, well, actually, that brings us to another question. Is there an advantage in one over the other?
The advantage when you are filing for SSDI, which is Social Security calls DIB, just disability insurance. But the advantage to that is you're eligible for more money, usually, when you apply for that. Because if you've been working for 20 years and you become disabled, usually you've built up, quite a bit of income. Basically, what SSDI is basically receiving your retirement early. So if you get disabled and injured at, say, 55 and you apply for disability, you're going to get what you'd be eligible for if you turn 65 that day. So or 66 now, if you turn 66 that day and we're applying for your retirement. So this is basically you just getting your retirement early. So that would be the monthly amount you would get, would be that amount that you would receive at 66. You would also be eligible for the same Medicare that you would receive at 66 if you become disabled and are found disabled under the security system, Social Security system, at whatever age it is that you become disabled, as long as you've been working and have those credits built up. So usually, well, I don't want to say usually, but in a lot of cases, you are eligible for more money with disability than with SSI, because SSI is a supplemental income, like I said. So it is capped at $735 a month. So that is the maximum that they raise it. I don't believe they did in 2016, but then in 2017, they raised it a couple of dollars a month. So it's not always going to be $735, but it's never going to, increase. You may get a couple of dollar increase every year, but it's never going to be based. I mean, it's never going to be as much as if you worked and paid in for 20 years.
Yeah.
But a lot of times that's all people are eligible for, particularly if they've never worked, if they're younger, if you're, 21, 22, and you don't have that work history, or if you're a child. Children are eligible for SSI.
Okay.
Children who have disabilities, children who have, require special treatments, children who require special therapies, things like that. Parents can apply on behalf of their children for SSI to get assistance with those things. So SSI really is, like I said, just kind of there as a supplement. And it's there to kind of as a safety net for people who have disabilities who have never worked or are children or are younger and just don't have that work history.
Yeah.
But Medicaid goes along with SSI.
Okay.
So it's you still get the insurance. You still get some sort of income, but SSI, like I said, is based on, I guess I didn't say this yet, but it's based on your income and your assets. Not everyone is eligible for SSI. If you make more than $735 a month, you're not eligible for SSI. If you have assets over $2,500, you're not eligible for SSI. You can own a piece of property that you live in. You can own a vehicle. But if you own things above that are worth $2,500 or more, you're not eligible for SSI. So it is a safety net for people who just don't have a lot, really. But on the other hand, sometimes people are eligible for both. Even if they have work, you can still be eligible for SSI.
Okay, that's interesting. You can be eligible for both.
You can.
Would you apply for both, or just the one that you said would potentially give you more benefits?
Yes, you can apply for both. And if you're eligible for both, we absolutely encourage you to apply for both, because you don't, let me give you an example. Say someone has been disabled, but they have thought that they could go back to work. They have been out of work for 3 years. A lot of times when you're out of work for 3 years, you can't keep up with, car payments. You can't keep up with a savings account, things like that. So in a case like that, a lot of times people are eligible for SSI because due to them not being able to work and unfortunate circumstances, they've gotten to where they're under that asset limit and they're under that income limit. So they're eligible for SSI. And then since they've worked in the past 5 or so years, they still have those credits. So they would have a SSDI, a DIB claim, and an SSI claim. So always apply for both. When you go in to apply, even if you think you're not eligible for SSI, always talk to them about that, because you want to make sure that you're maximizing your benefits. You want to make sure that you're getting everything you possibly can. Because with the disability, with the SSDI, there is a 24-month waiting period before your insurance kicks in.
Oh, wow.
From the time, right. So from the time that you're found disabled, actually from your onset date. So say you had an accident at work on May 1st of 2017, and you apply for disability. Another thing that I'm sure most people are familiar with, the disability process, the application process is a long process. Yeah. You appeal or you apply. Most people, about 70% of people, get denied at the initial level. Then you have to appeal to an administrative law judge. Because 70% of people are getting denied. Wow. It at the initial level, and that's not.
70% get denied?
Yes, at the initial level, and that's what we try to tell people.
At the initial level, okay. At the initial level, it's not a done deal yet.
Not a done deal. You can.
I see. Okay, that helps.
Yes. Right. No, don't just because, and that's what we tell people when they come in here the first time. Do not be discouraged because you've been denied at the initial level, because we appeal to the administrative law judges at that point, and that's where most cases go, is to the administrative law judge, and that's when you have a hearing.
I see.
At the initial level, they're just reviewing your medical records, reviewing the reports they have you fill out. But at the next level, that's when you get in front of a judge, and that's when you get a hearing. But that whole process can take up to 2 years.
Wow.
So it's best to apply for everything at that time, that one time. And a lot of people sometimes get to the point where, they've been waiting a year. At that point, they may need to apply for SSI. So they may become eligible for SSI while they're in the process of applying. So we try to ask people about that as we have our appointments with them, and see where they are financially, see if they need to apply for SSI at that point, because that's still something that you can ask them to attach that to your claim that you've appealed. And a lot of times they will. So you'll still have potentially have that eligibility for both, even after you've applied for disability.
Let me ask you this, Laura. Is it possible to get approved for both? And also, is it possible to collect from both? Or is it one or the other?
It is. You can get approved for both and collect for both.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. A lot of times when people have, say, lower income entry level jobs, they are paying into Social Security, but when they become disabled or when they become unable to work, maybe their disability benefits are only going to be $600 a month.
Okay.
So they'll still be eligible for that $600 a month, but if they've applied for SSI as well, they'll be bumped up that extra $135 up to that $735 a month.
Okay.
Because SSI can't go above $735 a month, and you can't be receiving over $735 a month. But like I said, if you're getting that $600 from disability, you would still be eligible be bumped up to $735 through SSI.
Okay.
And you would also have your Medicaid and your Medicare. And Medicaid with SSI comes into effect the month after you apply. So going back to that person I was talking about who became disabled on May 1st of 2017, say they applied June 1st, they applied for disability and SSI. They get their hearing in June of 2019 and they're approved back to May 1st of 2017. And I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers and dates.
This is great.
Confusing, but
this is great.
When they are approved in June of 2019, their Medicare through their disability, they start counting at the time you get paid. Your first payment goes back on your disability. So you're disabled May 1st. There's a 6-month waiting period before your disability payment starts. So June, July, August, September, October of 2017 would be when their payments would start. And that's when their 24-month waiting period for Medicare would start. So they would be eligible for Medicare as of October of 2019. So that's a long time to wait for your Medicare.
Yeah, sure is.
But if you have those SSI benefits, you're eligible for Medicaid the month after you filed. So you filed in June of 2017, so you're eligible for Medicare going back to July of 2017. So you've got all of that. So if you have outstanding hospital bills, outstanding medical bills, you can use your Medicare as if you'd had it the whole time and go back and make those payments. So that's why it's very beneficial to apply for both. Because if you are eligible for $1 of SSI, you still get that Medicaid. So,
that's big.
Yes. So that's why it's so important for people to know what they're going to the Social Security office for, know what to ask for, know to say, I want to see if I'm eligible for SSI. I want to see if I'm eligible for SSDI. I want to see if I can apply for both, because you need to maximize all the benefits that you can potentially get.
Yeah. Let's talk about the application process. Is that something that they do online? How is that done?
Disability, you can do the SSDI application online, the DIB application. And that's the one that if you've worked and paid into, that's the one you're applying for. That one can be done online. SSI can only be done in your local office. So you have to physically go down there and apply for it. And I think a lot of times it's better to go down there and apply for it anyway, because you know that that you're talking to them about what you're eligible for with everything.
Yes.
Even if you
Sorry,
I was going to say, even if you get an attorney to help with your claim, you still have to make the initial application on your own. An attorney can never go down and file that application for you. You have to do that on your own.
I see. And then at what point would you get involved?
Usually people come to us either after they have filed that initial application, people will come to us and say, here's my application, here's what I've done, what's the next step? And at that point, we kind of make sure they've told the Social Security all the doctors they're seeing, all the hospitals they've been to, make sure Social Security is collecting all of their information to make a decision at that initial level. So that's what we do if people come to us after they apply. Other times, people will come to us after they have appealed or after they've been denied, and then we'll file their appeal for them.
Oh, okay. So you can actually file the appeal.
Yes, we can file the appeal for them. So people, a lot of times, and that's what happens in most cases, is people will come to us once they've been denied and say, what now? What can I do? What are my options? And then we will talk them through the process and let them know that we can file that appeal for them, and that, you know, it's not done once you're denied at the initial level. That's just the first step. So either of those times, really any time up to a hearing, we've had people come to us, you know, a month before their hearing is set and say, can you help me? And, you know, if it's something that we're able to do, of course, you know, but most people will come to us either after they've filed their initial application or after they've been denied at the initial level.
And is that what you recommend?
Yes. The earlier you can get to an attorney, the better they can help you develop your case, because you want the judge to have all the information they can possibly have in front of them at the time that they are meeting with you in your hearing.
Well, and what you're talking about, it sounds like a big part of the process that I'm sure an attorney could be very helpful with is getting all this documentation, medical records, all of that. A lot of people wouldn't really know kind of how to go about all that. So I think getting help with the organization of documentation would be extremely helpful.
Absolutely. I mean, it is so important to get every piece of evidence you possibly can in front of the judge. Everything, you know, going back to the date that you became disabled, you know, you want to have them to have the full breadth of knowledge about your case, about your medical history, about your impairments, and about your work history also, because that's something that they look at, is what your previous job was and what your duties were in evaluating your case. That's a whole that it's so easy to get into so many different things when you're talking about Social Security. But yes, medical records, developing that is a huge part of what we do and what we help people do. Because that's really developing your case is extremely important.
Yeah. Laura, you mentioned that first initial application, about 70% are denied. Do you have any stats on the, you know, on the appeal, what kind of percentage is accepted? And also, secondly, if there's any statistics, and I don't know if there are or not, of the success when you have an attorney involved versus not having an attorney. Any stats on any of that?
Really, with the I know in our area in particular, we have 15 judges who hear Social Security cases, and each one of those judges has a different approval rating. So,
interesting.
And Social Security does keep statistics on the judges and what their approval ratings are. And most judges, their approval ratings in Mobile are around between 40 and 60%. So it's a better, you have a better chance in front of the judge once you get in front of them, and once you can kind of have that time to explain to them what you're going through, what your symptoms are, what your day-to-day life is like. They're going to listen to that, and they're going to look at your medical records. And what they want to see is that those are going side by side, that those are, you know, your doctors are saying exactly what you're telling the judge. And that's, in cases where we have that is, you know, that's all we can hope for. That's the best thing we can show them is that, and the judges are receptive to that. That's what they want to see. So when we have that, I think the approval ratings just go through the roof when we have that, and when we can show that symptoms are the same across the board. No matter what doctor you're seeing, all of your doctors are stating the same things. You're saying the same things. That's really best case scenario, and that's when the judges are really very receptive to a case.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let me just clarify one more time. So when you get involved, a lot of this documentation, you're assembling it. Is that true?
Yes, we do.
A lot of the medical records and things like that?
We get all the medical records. We organize
That's
those.
huge.
We get those sent to Social Security. Yes, and that's something that that we try to do every time we speak with a client. We talk to them and we say, what doctors have you seen since the last time we've spoken? We go over, sometimes people will come to us years after their onset date, after their initial disability, and we'll say, well, let's go through and make a list of every doctor you've seen since then. Try to jog their memory, try to help them think of who they've seen, how we can get, and we'll take care of getting the records. We don't, we don't ask them to go get any or go, make their own requests. We take care of that, but we do try to, every time we speak, talk about what doctors they've seen, what needs to be updated, and we get all that in, and get it sent to the judge so they can review it. And then we also, go over what the judge is looking for in the hearing. We go over what kinds of questions they're going to ask, and just try to get people as prepared as possible to go in front of those judges and know what their medical records are saying, know what their doctors are saying, and really, let them know what to expect in the hearing. So that's kind of what we do, and what our process is throughout their case, throughout the pendency of someone's case with the Social Security system.
Very helpful. Laura, if somebody has questions and they want to reach you, how can they do that? What's the best way?
Email. My email is lholland@gardberglaw.com, and I try to respond to emails as quickly as I can, so that's probably the best way. Also, our office number, 251-433-1111. So,
wait a minute, is that right?
That is
251
343-1111. 251-343-1111.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yes.
And then it's Gardberg, also gardberglaw.com. And I know you have a lot of information on your website.
Yes,
as well.
We do. We have blogs. There's a blog that's connected to that website that will we go through and explain so many different areas of Social Security. We have just touched on a tiny piece of it today. There are so many issues, so many things that go into it, so many questions that people have, and a lot of those questions are already answered on our blog. So if you want to kind of look around there first, it is gardberglaw.com, and there's a little tab on there that says blog. So feel free to look at that. And then if you have any questions after that, send me an email or call our office, and we'll be happy to help.
Terrific. We appreciate it. Well, listen, Laura, thanks a lot for your time today.
Oh, you're welcome. It was great talking with you.
You too. And to those of you that are listening, either live or by replay, you can also leave your questions right on this page. Just post them in the comments, and we'll make sure Laura addresses them for you, get you some answers, and we'll see you all again soon. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you.